Hi Fausti, it's Diane. I'm here to do my October 2017 FOSTube update. And my husband is up north, as we say here in Minnesota. He's deer hunting. It's opening deer season. Where he hunts, there are 3 weekends in November that you can hunt, and this is the opening weekend. We have 6 tags to fill, and so far they've filled, he has 5 of our kids with him, and so far they've filled, I thought he said they filled 3, maybe 4. I know 2 of them missed their shot, but they didn't injure the animal, they just missed their shot. So they're going to go out again tomorrow and hopefully finish filling the tags and then butcher and have meat in the freezer. And for the record, having a gun in the woods shooting anything that moves is not hunting. And we'll just leave that there. For this video, I have whips, fips, stash haul, new starts, life updates. So we'll just jump in. Life updates. My parents were able to come out in October, which was really nice to see them. They wanted to kind of get out of town, get out of Dodge a little bit with everything that they've been going through with my mom's breast cancer, and she's been told by one of her doctors that she can start telling people that she is a breast cancer survivor. It won't be official on her documents yet, but he said you can start saying you had cancer, past tense. So she's really happy about that, and she gets tested this month to see if the anti-cancer drug that she's on, which I think is the same one that Stitchville is on, tamifloxine. She's getting checked to see if it's hurting her liver, which can be a side effect of that particular drug. But everything that she's had done test-wise, they've been very, very, very happy about. So that's good news. And we went to Stitchville. My kids are upstairs and they should be sleeping. We went to Stitchville because my mom is a stitcher, and she picked up some amazing fabrics for herself. And she did pick up a couple gifts for me, which she didn't have to do. And then we went out to lunch, and it was really nice, mom-daughter time. I have a really good relationship with my mom. I know not everybody can say that, but I do, and I consider it a blessing, and she's one of my best friends. And then we went to the apple orchard on one of the days, and it was absolutely amazing weather. It was like right before it turned yucky. Beautiful, just enough breeze to keep the air fresh, and not a whole lot of people when we went, which was nice. I've been there when it's been just busy and people almost climb over each other. It's just sad. And my dad gave me this gift. Isn't that pretty? It's all handmade, hand painted. And this, he accidentally dropped it. So it's a character mark right there. But isn't that pretty? Not sure what to put in it. When I did dishes last night, I put my rings in it, thinking future art container when I have a permanent stitching spot, because I don't want to eat out of it. It's too pretty. I love the colors. Wouldn't that make a cool design for stitching? That's beautiful. So put that aside, otherwise I'll play with it. And then, yes, my husband did get back from Vegas later that week, and I picked him up about 5 o'clock our time. Then he and I went to dinner by ourselves, which was good, so we could just talk. And we've been together for 27 years, or almost 20. I'm sorry, almost 26. No, almost 27 years. January 21st, it'll be 27 years. And we'll be celebrating our 26th wedding anniversary next year. that had to be the weirdest conversation. The absolute weirdest conversation. It's still hard for me to understand. And when things like that happen, words fail. They fail big time. But, and yes, I did go to Stitchville because it was on my way. And then on the 28th, my stitching group, I've talked about it before that I've gone. I went last month for the first time in a year. And September, excuse me, it's November now. I went in September after a year. And so then my 14-year-old daughter said, well, if they do that in October, can I go? And I said, well, we just sit there and stitch. That's what we do. You know, I pick up lunch, and she said, I'd like to do that. And so she did. She came with me. And it just happened to be during the Floss Tube Minnesota Stitchers Retreat that was hosted by Farm Girl, Michelle, and Joan, Queen of Quite a Lot. Also Mama Joan. And we had to go to Stitchville. I honestly, I had to go to Stitchville because I was working on a project and I ran out of floss, and it was a specialty floss, and I needed it to finish my project. Honestly, Scott's honor. Floss tube honor. And I happened to walk in following Miss McKenna, so I got to meet McKenna and Michelle Bendy Stitch, which I didn't recognize her because I hadn't watched her videos. I was following her on Instagram, and I thought I was following her on YouTube also, and I wasn't. That's been corrected, so now I am following her on both. And I met E.F. Bauer, who doesn't make videos, but she comments on a lot of them. And Neela from Stitching Group. She's joking with me that they let me out of the house. And Susie from Stitching Group. And then I saw Farm Girl, Michelle, and I saw Yvonne, the Night Owl Stitcher, but they were dealing with an employee at Stitchville about supplies or a model, or I wasn't quite sure, and I didn't want to interrupt them. So my daughter saw a model on the wall, and we tracked it down, which I had to ask, because how Stitchville does it is they'll have a model there, and then they'll put a number in the corner, and they have a binder that has the lists of all their models, so you can find that particular pattern if you want it. And if they didn't have that, there's no way I would have ever found that, because it's one that you buy. It's from Jabco, Just Another Button Company, and if you buy the button pack, you get the pattern free. And so we got that. And so it calls for 10 count heather field, which is no longer available. So I asked her, I said, well, do you want to try even weave? And she said, okay. And so we picked her out a nice 28 count Jobelin. And it's a royal blue. I don't remember the exact name. I was thinking it's royal blue. It's beautiful. It'll be fabulous when it's done. And it calls for, so it'll be her first even weave, and it'll be her first overdyed threads and her first time adding buttons. She's added beads before, and it calls for French knots. And she said, Ma. I said, that's okay. I've got beads. I've got white, cream, red, black. Yeah, we'll figure that out when she has the project done. And it's 3 gingerbread people, and then Life is Sweet is across the top. And she has the center gingerbread person done, and there's some hearts on there. She has one of those done. So she's moving really well on it. She's doing a great job. And she's 14 for the record. And she also picked up a Joan Elliott kit. I don't remember the name. Sorry. One of her goddesses, but I don't remember the name. And when she was there, I picked up a piece of fabric that I wanted to look at for a specific pattern, a Nora Corbett pattern. So then went over to where the Nora Corbetts are stored, and there were some ladies there, and I didn't want to interrupt them. And So I waited, and then one of them said something, and I thought, well, that voice sounds familiar. And she turned around, and it was Becky, the Obsessed Stitcher. And I'm trying some different editing things, and if I can insert a picture, I'll put it here. And she turned around, and I said, hi, Becky, and she said, oh, hi, Diane, and yeah, we chatted for a little bit, and it was fun. And introduced my daughter, and yeah, it was fun. So then we went to Stitchy, and we really enjoyed the time. She wants to do it again sometime. They do have one scheduled for November. I'm not sure if I'm going to make that one. The one in December, I probably will. I hope to. Also in October, dun, dun, guess who's 1 year old? Mini Dot is 1 year old on the 26th. He turned a year. Wow. He's not walking yet, but I have a feeling he'll be walking by Thanksgiving and running by Christmas. Because he pulls himself up, climbs. Yeah. Little bugger won't feed himself, though. You know, like little bits of cheese or Cheerios, or he won't. He just, putting food in his own mouth is. It's nice that he's not putting every toy in his mouth, but it'd be nice to put some approved food in his mouth. But we'll figure that out. So, Becky asked about my Marine, and I did hear from my Marine just last night, actually. He did receive his medical clearance to continue his training because he had gotten injured, and it delayed his training, and he was so frustrated. But he had clearance, and he passed the mile swim, so he has all of the swimming done. There's 8 swimming things. He has to do one more test in the water that's not necessarily swimming. It's kind of emergency procedure if you crash type of stuff. And then he has a fitness test, so he thinks he'll graduate from that particular school the 15th, 16th of November, sometime in there. And then I think he has a short training school, one more short training school, and then he goes on to more of a permanent duty station. That's a good 6 to 10 months. And so I think that's when he could get his leave, because we haven't seen him since May 2nd. So I might have boots in the house before the end of the year. And his birthday's in January, so if it's in January, it's in January. We'll be good. But you never know until they put the orders in your hands. So, haul. Let's start with haul. Now, I said stash, and I said haul. Those are not the same things in my world, because this is my haul. That is a 15-passenger Ford Transit wagon. Yep. We decided to purchase a new one. Our previous one, which we nicknamed Bertha. Bertha gave us a good 16 years. And that's not bad for a vehicle. And she still has less than 150,000 miles on her. So we're hoping to sell it in the next few weeks. But we hemmed and hawed, and yeah, with our family, we needed the 15-passenger van. We still have 10 kids at home, if we don't count our college-age son. So, yeah, we never thought we'd have to buy one 15-passenger van, let alone 2. So that's my haul. Because the 15-passenger van, I think that's the color that we got. I asked my husband, I said, can it please not be white? It could be standard color, I don't care what standard color, but not white. And so I think that one is the one. It's magnetic or metallic, or I don't know. It's gray, kind of a gray brown. That's the color. Yeah, and it runs nicely, and so we hope to head out to Seattle to see my brother and his family probably next year, when we have grad. So probably after our son graduates, we can schedule that. Maybe go out to Colorado again, Nebraska to see friends, South Dakota to see my family, again, weather permitting, because in the prairie states, there's nothing to stop the snow. And yeah, so we'll have to figure that out. But I think a 15-passenger van with a towing package defines the term haul. So that's my haul. So let's start with some FIPS. I was getting stuff out to do this video last night yesterday before my husband left, because where I store most of my stitching stuff is our bedroom, and Mini Dot's still in there until he's done nursing because he doesn't want to give it up. And you know, he takes naps during the day and all that, and I'm like, I just might as well pull stuff while he's awake, because he knows when I open that door. It's like, you know what? I love you dearly, but I'd love my body back, and I'd love to get a night's sleep. That's not going to happen anytime soon. So my husband said, oh, so you're going to do a video while I'm gone? Yeah, I usually do. And he said, oh, so you're going to show him your whips and your FIPS. FIPS, what are you talking about? He said, well, they're your projects that you're in the process of framing. So they're finishes that aren't final finishes, they're not FFOs. According to my husband's definition. No, we don't have to use it in Floss 2, but I thought it was kind of an interesting acronym. So I do have, now in August, let me move this so I don't knock it all over. In August, I had 3. In September, I had 2. And in October, let's do this, be easier. So let's talk FIPS, or finishes. So the first one, okay, give me just a second. Okay, so for 2017, I had 8 goals, and I have started to look at 2018 on what I want for my goals, but I'm not at the point I can like do a video on them. So I had 8 goals. My kids are making noises upstairs. I might have to go and referee. Okay. Hope I don't have to. This was my #1 goal, that if I only got one thing done the entire year, it would be this. And it's Grace and Love Burst Sampler by Stony Creek. And here it is. Yes, I do have his name folded up for privacy reasons, but you know, I've mentioned it begins with a B. So it is finished. And this is 28 count Jobelin China Pearl. And so I've got the eyes on the birds and the bunnies, which I fixed. And I also did a pink bead for the nose. Then there are pearls through this band here. There are not supposed to be pearls in that one. No, that one didn't have pearls. But then they had specialty stitches, the flowers, and another band with pearls down here, and there's my initials. So, yeah, now there's supposed to be specialty stitches here and here. I was kind of nervous about that stitch, I'll be honest. But when I got this far, and before I put the beads on, I thought, you know what, it doesn't need that. I like the tree without this thing over here. I think it would look weird, so I left it off. But it is finished. And I'm very, very happy about that, because this is the one, if I only got one done, this is the one I wanted done. So that is Grace and Love Birth Sampler. I put the pattern away already. And the floss. Trust me, for me, that's huge. I usually don't. It takes me a long time to get the pattern and floss put away after a project is finished. So that's definitely an improvement. So, and another project I've been working on and off. I blame Pam again. She's such an enabler. She showed in one of her videos the floss, DMC floss storage that her and Stephanie use. And so took me a little bit. I couldn't find them at Walmart, but I did find them at Joann's. Used a coupon and all that. The snap wares, and I bought the 4 because there's 2 trays in each one. So I have one tray that's technically not in use, but I could use it for the colors, the 388s and 3880 and up. I'll probably use it for that. Right now I just threw some extra snack bags, extra needles, that kind of thing in there. Well, when I had his burr sampler done, Minnie.'s burr sampler, and can I clarify, Minnie Dot is not his given legal name. It's a nickname. I'll go from there. I needed a new start after I was done stitching that. And so I looked at what I had kitted, and I had this one kitted. It's called Sonata by Abby Lane Designs. I know the designer passed away about 10 years ago, so I wasn't sure if the pattern was still available, and it might be. I found a couple sites that had it for between $7 and $8, but it calls for Gloriana silk, 12-stranded silk, 6 meters or 6 yards. I think 6 yards. Gloriana has several different lines of silk with different lengths and different number of strands, and this is 12-stranded silk. It's called Cranberry, roughly 814 and 815 DMC wise, and it's finished. This fabric is 32 count linen. It's not Zweigart. It's just one that I had in my stash. I even had a piece of this to show, to use. It's called Antique Blue, and the red and the blue really work together. I don't know if that light's going to help or hurt. It's going to help. Okay, we'll leave it. My house has really weird lighting, as many floss tubers can. It must be a thing with floss tubers. But a lot of different motifs. There's a little teapot, and the heart, these little kind of snowflakey things. It's all full across, 1 strand over 2 threads. This has a little bit of back stitching, and the notes have a little bit of back stitching. It's stitched up very fast because I started it at the beginning of October, finished it mid-October. My favorite motif is probably the house and tree or the treble clef music notes. My least is probably the basket, and I'm not sure why. It wasn't hard, but I'm not sure why. I don't know if you guys are picking up on the variegation or not. It's hard to tell with this light. But it is finished, and I know how I want to fully finish it. I was looking at Hobby Lobby. I didn't have the piece with me, and I need to measure it. Maybe that's what I can do tomorrow. Just get measurements, so then when I'm at Hobby Lobby again, I know what I want to do. I can have measurements, so then I'll just put it in my Evernote on my phone, and then, oh, that one thing, that might have fit on there. I thought this was bigger. That's why I gotta measure it. But it's done. Yeah, it's Abby Lane Designs, A-B-E-Y, and again, I put the pattern away. It's called Sonata, as in the musical movement, and it is finished. That one, at some point in time when I pass the stash, that one will be in there. It's a really nice design to stitch. And then my third finish, I looked at my whips and I thought, okay, what do I want to work on? This one called to me, and it's one of the Seasons in Chalk that are drawn by Priscilla and charted by, I think it's Kathy Haberman. Forgive me if I got the name wrong. Hands-on Designs. They're the ones that are charting those up. And this was from the Just Cross Stitch April 2016 issue. It's the spring. And I used the called for floss, but I did not use the called for fabric. And here it is. The fabric is Fabrics by LJ. I thought it was called Heaven. It's not. It's actually called Holiday. So I've always said, oh, it's Heaven. Is it? Sorry. It's Holiday. Now, I do have an issue with this design. The model stitcher probably had, now gassed threads, these are all gassed, well, I'm sorry, I think there's 1 weeks. These are gassed or weeks threads in here. I'm watching my clock to see when my phone's gonna jump. The gassed threads, many of the colors are available in 5-yard lengths and 10-yard lengths. The model stitcher must have had a 10-yard skein because the instructions say 1 skein of each color. Of the white, the chalk, you need at least 2 skeins. I ran out, and I made sure I had all the letters done, and this curlicue done with 1 skein, and then I did the flowers with another skein because dye lot was a huge issue. So they must have had a 10-yard skein because 5 yards doesn't cut it. And do I have that still out here? Let's see if I have my thread. I do not have the threads out here anymore. I put those away too. But you need 2 5-yard skeins or 1 10-yard skein of the white and 2 5-yard or 1 10-yard skein of the pink. The pink is the one that I absolutely had to go to Stitchville to get because I'd ran out. The green, the blue, and the yellow, which is in the center of the flowers and on his garland on his neck, one 5-yard skein will do that. Will do. So yeah, my initials are here. So if you want to do this pattern, make sure you have 10 yards of the chalk in particular, otherwise you won't have enough. And this is 2 strands over 2 strands on 18 count. If you were using a higher count and only 1 strand, then you could definitely do the 5 yards. And my phone's gonna jump here. Hopefully it hasn't already. That's the only issue I have with this design. It's a really nice design, really cute. The colors really pop on that fabric. So I encourage you to consider doing that design. But yeah, you need 10 yards of the white and 10 yards of the pink. Stop this and start it again. Something you guys won't realize, but I do because I know my phone will jump, and I want to make sure that I know when it jumps.